Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a... What's happening? Oh my god, oh no! Modern medicine did this to me! Hopefully you don't need me to remind you that we are knee-deep in the third year of the seasickness that took over the world. And as much as we'd all like to move on, the victims are still piling up, and it continues to evolve the more our governments try and ignore it. The considerate people out there are doing their part by continuing to wear a mask when they can, being smart about avoiding high-risk areas, and keeping up to date with their shots, all of which have been working for them, myself included. But would it surprise you if I told you that there are some people who are ignoring the past 3 years of evidence and are trying to make money off of people by scaring them with conspiracies? What am I saying? Of course you're not surprised. That's part of our system. USA, USA, US. We all get this by now, and it's nothing new. From the very beginning, there has been doubt cast on what should have been apolitical healthcare, and it was turned into a conspiracy tool. Even when these figures don't survive, the others use their passing as more fuel for their stupid fire. Canada's top doctor is urging people to get their booster shots as seasickness activity continues to fluctuate in the country. How about over my dead body? Yeah, Jordan, that's probably how things are going to play out. But as for today's topic, in the past week there has been an influx of videos depicting Americans showing extreme tremors and blaming them on vaccine symptoms, with the rhetoric being publicized by clout-hungry social media doctors with something to gain from all the fear-mongering. I'll admit to you, I'm a little conflicted by this because, one, misinformation, especially when it's widespread, is supposed to be taken very seriously, like it's a tool used to hurt people, and that's not something we should joke about. Two, medical symptoms and side effects are a horrifying reality for a lot of people, especially seizures. Like, those are debilitating. Trust me, if you see someone have one in person, you know how serious they are, and you know they need to be handled with severity. However, three, these videos are so obviously staged, it's to the point where it's funny how embarrassing they are. These people are giving us the show of their lives, but they probably needed a few more drama classes. So today, not only are we going to be deconstructing the broader point of it all, but we're going to be ranking these faking, shaking videos based on how funny they are, because they're all fake. They're so stupid, and I think they're actually kind of funny. So, you know what? Let's start there. Urgent, a healthcare worker and mandated to take the vaccine. 3 days later, paralyzed from the legs down, followed by severe convulsions and seizures.
Let's calm down.
A little bit. Just video it. There's no sense of holding me. It doesn't help.
Now, to be fair, I'm no doctor, but do those legs look paralyzed to you? I just love the cinematography choice of panning the camera over to her bag. It's as if to say she wants to go and work, but she cannot due to the shakes. So instead, she keeps her purse in bed with her. Who amongst us doesn't get in bed fully dressed with our purse? Like, we're all victims of that. Oop. Enhance. She's got a ring and a gorgeous necklace on. They're so small and delicate. How did she get that on? Even if she had someone help her and put it on for her, if you're shaking that bad, don't you think you would be focused on other things? I get that she probably wanted to look good for this video, but it's a pretty big plot hole. I also enjoy how she tells the cameraman not to hold her back.
Just video it. There's no sense of holding me. It doesn't help.
And then he silently continues to grasp her knees. You know, those knees that are paralyzed but still in the upright position. And then he just continues to keep the camera in her face. Right out the gate, that is a strong first contender. And it does get default front runner because it's the only one there, but that's going to be a tough one to beat. Maybe we shouldn't have started off with such a strong one because, I don't know, let's hope the other varsity tryouts have what it takes. Now, you might have noticed that I'm being a little cruel in my commentary. Like, I might feel like I'm targeting the people in the video as opposed to targeting the reasons they're behaving this way. And if you've been subscribed to me for a while, you know that, for me, being mean to people makes my soul wither like an old rose. However, these people who are faking these symptoms, whether it's for attention or an agenda, it's a disgusting thing to do. Vaccines and shots are the reason that so many people have survived this long into the... I don't want to call it the seasickness, but I have to. And to try and muddy all of the help that these things give people with their own attention-seeking behavior is a really heartless thing to do, and whatever negatives come from this is on these people. I am all for showing people patience and for discussing larger topics with a healthier tone, but I don't think we should mince words when it comes to people's entire livelihoods being at stake. These people aren't just victims of propaganda, they are acting as agents of its distribution. So I'm not going to be making fun of these people specifically, but I am going to make fun of their videos, because it's embarrassing for them, and it's stupid, and the videos are kind of funny. Speaking of which, everyone meet Gary. Takes 1 dose of the vax. Next day forgets where he is and time. He suddenly falls. Sensation of body burning, tremors, lost speech, and 20 months later, no improvement. Gary is now disabled.
Do you want to go lay down?
Now, though this looks like it could be easily faked by anyone, tremors and loss of speech are common symptoms for a lot of disabilities. There's no proof in the video that these are medically induced, but we can't just outright throw out the possibility that this person doesn't have a condition. However, it's hard to ignore the unemotional camera operator.
I'm gonna go outside.
No, you need to stay inside. It's cold and rainy out there.
It really just stays at the one angle, and though she seems worried, the lens is rigid and unemotional. Also, here's my favorite part.
Try to lean back so you don't fall.
Not all the actors on set were briefed, it seems. This adorable baby does not approach with concern like other emotionally intelligent animals do. This one seems excited and is looking for pets. If we are to believe that this has been happening for 20 months, like Dr. I Pay for Twitter checkmark says, I'd imagine this puppy wouldn't be sniffing the hands like it was something new and looking like it's ready to play.
I'm tired of living this way.
I know, honey.
What a good final thesis. It's like he almost knew that he was being filmed and wanted a good point to wrap it all up on. As much as the dog helped, there wasn't a whole lot of action in this one, so I don't think it's as funny as the first one. So I am going to be placing it underneath, but it's a close tie. They're both clearly gunning for the Oscar season. A lot of the people defending these clips in the comments usually use the animals as a source of evidence that these have to be real. They're arguing that the concern that these animals are showing is a clear indication that something is wrong, and that alone should be proof. I do think it's true that animals like cats and dogs have a very strong emotional intelligence and can sense these things. Cats are known to seek out and cuddle with people who are under stress or who are crying, and dogs are notoriously the go-to animal for therapy and emotional support. That stuff is true. However, as someone who has been around pets my entire life, if you just start out of nowhere shaking, they're gonna be concerned about that too. You'll get their attention. If you just start acting that way out of nowhere with no warning, they're gonna come investigate because it's weird. As much as this can be used as proof that something is wrong, it can also be used to imply that this has never happened before and it surprised them. I will say though that the one upside to watching all of these videos is that I get to see a couple dogs and cats now and then. And you know what? I'll take what I can get. Let's continue. Chris Williams took a vax shortly after he had frequent seizures, a blot clot, I think he means blood clot, muscle back joint pain, and dilated cardiomyopathy. He hasn't worked, is now disabled, had to remortgage house, and is losing his business. Well, say what you will, but he's selling it. The moaning is on point, the clutching of his arm where the shot must have been, brilliant. And I love the little detail of the hand gingerly touching his leg. I mean, there's so much emotion there. What a scene. And the people making this one were smart about it, because the clip is only 8 seconds long, which means there's less to go over to dispute it. This tactic really limits the amount of criticism that they could take. But that's not all we have. Shout out to the upstanding citizens in the comments, because they sourced some pretty damning evidence. The main character of the video has been changing the specific details over time, and also slipped out of character to hit the town and embrace the nightlife. For someone with high blood pressure, heartaches, and seizures, you'd think he wouldn't seek out hot dogs, pizza, diner food, popcorn, ice cream, soda, and candy. Personally, I would have just kept it to one of those, or none. So while the video is short and sweet, the fact that this guy himself posted evidence contradicting his own claim, that's too funny. Come on. People immediately found it. Like, you gotta hide that stuff. That's online lying 101, dude. I'm gonna put this one in second place because it's funnier than the dog one, but it just doesn't beat the fully dressed, paralyzed, shaking in bed lady. But what a competition. Now, I do find it interesting that all of the videos so far, and most of them out there, though the symptoms vary, all include seizures. I would assume this because shaking is kind of an easy thing to portray on camera, and it probably doesn't need a lot of explanation to set up. I've never experienced a seizure myself, but I have been around someone who did, and you can't fake that easily. I know that they can range in severity and some are going to be stronger than others, but the person I saw couldn't talk, couldn't move on their own. It was just full body shaking. And the point is, it just wasn't specific limbs shaking or rocking back and forth. It's scary for me to think back on that moment, and I think that's why these videos press down on my nerves so much, because it's so insulting to be shaking your limbs and say oh look, I'm having a seizure. The idea that this is their go-to acting choice, to just fake this and then it'll convince everybody, it's heartless. It's unforgivable. I don't have any sympathy for them. And additionally, you know what will make seizures worse for people? The sickness that the vaccines will protect you against. And this fucking Twitter doctor, the one who's compiling everything and sharing it, he's fucking responsible for all of this. If you ask me, he is at the center of blame because he has the outreach, he has the audience. Otherwise, these people would just be shaking in their home movies. But we'll get to him later. For now, more of the same. Alarm emoji. Urgent. Molly Valdez, age 29, has severe neurological complications and involuntary facial spasms from taking a vax. She can no longer move without a walker.
Okay, so I'm going to stop that right now. Okay, go ahead.
I picked this one specifically to show because it kind of shows how tricky this can get. There's no outright shaking from home like the others, but there are still some details that make it seem a little shifty. Specifically, what stands out to me is the man behind the camera telling her to stop and start between clips, and also there's a link at the bottom of the video. There aren't any replies to this post disproving it, but the post itself includes a lot of specific details, so I decided to Google it. I searched this person's name and only found a news article depicting the same story, as well as a GoFundMe. But still, even in that, I found more contradictions. She says in her fundraiser that she was at least 21 when the page was created, and she still walks her dog to stay active. But in the tweet, Dr. Twitter says that she's 29 and can't move without a walker. There was also a video update on the page, which I assumed would be her own recount of what happened, or at least a cover of the progress that they'd made. But the update only consisted of a near-silent clip of her eyes twitching.
Started having really bad pain in my eye, behind my eye. Can't open it.
I was really hoping to hear from her in this because there's no proof she typed all this out. And in the background, you can hear a man's voice, and the Twitter doctor is saying his own thing. But we don't have anything that proves it's from her. Like I said, the fact that this video was watermarked raised a lot of red flags. And when I searched the link, I found a page for people who thought they might have vax-related symptoms. I thought it would resemble a support group, but was instead a right-wing self-promo scamfest. The entire thing just seemed really shady to me, and no matter what parts of this might be believable, it doesn't change the fact that in the original post, the the guy was lying about the details. There's no transparent or like ashamed injury faking in this one, so I'm just gonna stuff it at the bottom. And even if it is as fake as the others, there's just not a whole lot of humor to it. It's, I don't know. You all know by now that I'm not a licensed doctor. I'm not a licensed anything. I'm recording my audio on a phone, for God's sake. What that means is that I won't always have concrete proof that these are fake, in the same way that they don't have concrete proof that these symptoms are real and are attributed to the shots. I'm basing all of this on my reasoning, my perception, and my common sense, but I'm not an expert. And I'm sure anyone who's tried to look into these know that they're not always going to have the answers either. And that feeling is where these accounts think that they can take advantage of others. Their weak evidence might be stronger than no evidence at all, so that's what they're going to go with. And I think that's just compelling enough to get people to believe in this and to follow down that train of thought. For me, the end-all to following this thing is seeing who's profiting. The scam emails could be sold to bots for money, obviously, and the Twitter doctor is just trying to get attention and grow his brand. But if these meds are supposed to be taking us out, who's gaining from that? Like, business-wise, how would anyone be making money from that? And actually, since the price of these things just got jacked up to hell, they probably want to make them effective, so we keep coming back and paying them more money to get it again. Capitalism? What are you doing here? All of this to say, sometimes it won't look like hammy acting, and sometimes there might be a shadow of a doubt, but that doesn't mean that we should continue to take it at face value. But, speaking of hammy acting, thanks, Pfizer.
So this is where we're at. Let me raise my legs. Do you see that?
Oh. This one's... This one is a work of art. This is cinema at its finest. It starts off with your standard shaking, sure, but once that blanket is removed, those legs can't stop but start rising up to the heavens. Also, the camera is so steady. It's obviously being held by the person in question, but she's trembling like a nervous cartoon character, and the camera's just really steadily capturing all of that. This one's my favorite so far.
I don't know.
It's just such a self-own, it's self-contradictory. And on top of all of that, in the background, the TV is a commercial including cryptocurrencies. Like, how do you beat that? It's just the perfect storm. It's easily my favorite so far, so it's shooting straight to the top. I just don't get how she thought she was going to get away with this. Like, done deal. Ladies and nerds, we have a new reigning champion. Now, this one wasn't from our usual guy, and I did that on purpose. I wanted to show that not all of these videos are going to be coming from these sewer funnels. Sometimes they're going to be locally sourced horse shit. And I think that just goes to show how unimaginably worse these are, because they're seeking these out, they're compiling them, and spreading them out to people who otherwise wouldn't have ever heard of the original video. The videos themselves are likely just to draw in attention or to spread their agenda, but accounts like these are trying to make money off of it, and that, special level of hell. Most nurses will tell you that vaccines work, and that's why there's a lot of profit to gain by pretending like you're one of the brave ones who's willing to speak the truth, to work against the system, and so that's why you should listen to me. But again, I'm not this guy's best friend or his manager. I don't know what he really believes. I don't know if any of this is like true to him, but who cares? Simply looking over his behavior with a critical eye will tell you that he's doing this for money. The people in his comments who continue to disprove whatever video he shows are probably the best course of action we have in combating this kind of hydrant. I'm sorry for swearing. That way, the people who are smart enough to fact check this kind of video are going to be shown the evidence that it's not real, and hopefully they can stop themselves from believing this kind of stuff, because I'm making myself sad. We only got a few more entries, so here's video 6. This is my cousin who got the Moderna. Oh, hang on, nope, that's not one of them. That's a Shakira music video. My bad. Here we go. Another victim of the jab. Nope. This one is just a kitten twitching in its sleep. Sorry guys, I'm falling victim to online misinformation now. Oh yeah, this one's it. My story. I'm going on 22 months and still many issues post VAX. After 7 months, I'm dealing with side effects from both doses. Both have badly harmed my health.
Look what I got. Real money.
Not real.
Yeah, but look, it's actual.
Oh my god! This one is too much. This one is actually too much. Look at how composed her hand is when the video starts, and when she grabs her drink, only then she starts the intense shaking. But not 2 seconds later, as she's bringing the drink up, the corners of her mouth start to turn up. She's actively trying not to smile as she's seeing how ridiculous she looks. There is also a soothing symphony of what sounds like multiple background voices talking over a sports game.
Look what I got.
This soundtrack rivals some of Hollywood's best composers, easily. But here we are, the coup de grace, the cherry on top.
Real.
Not real.
Yeah, but look, it's actual.
She's called out by a kid. Brilliant. She responds by perfectly setting her drink down and going to stop the recording, and her face is making the white person being perceived look. Like, it's too good. It's a masterpiece. It really is. I'm guessing she meant to crop the video, like take off the beginning and end to cover the still hand and the facial emotions. But like, she must have forgot or like didn't know how. This is comedy of the year. I love it. I have to put this one in first place. It deserves it easily. Blanket Lady was a strong start, but this is just non-stop comedy. Like, you just couldn't have made this funnier if you scripted it. I think it even follows the 3-act structure. Well, as we are nearing this final clip, I just wanted to touch on something that, I don't know, it's important to me at least. So maybe this isn't for you, so just sit tight till the final video. Believe me, I'm tired of this. I think we all are. We all are sick of staying indoors, of wearing the masks, of just dealing with everything that this brings us. We're sick of it. I didn't mean for that to be a pun. The fatigue that comes from hearing about this or dealing with it is very real, and the fact that the news cycle coverage is elsewhere and not really covering this, it makes it feel like if it's out of sight, it could be out of mind. And I don't want you to be scared of it, and I'm not advocating that you wear a hazmat suit and stay inside forever. I just want you to be conscious of it. I want you to be mindful and to not pretend it's over. Don't go out of your way to convince yourself that it's not real. Personally, because I'm boosted, I don't wear my mask everywhere I go, but I always make sure to keep one on me in case I end up someplace that's high risk. For example, I might sit down in a restaurant and remove my mask to eat, but I don't want to be caught in an elevator with like someone coughing their guts out and to not have a mask on me. And even if you're just getting boosted and playing things safe, you are multiplying your odds of success. Someone in my life got boosted and then hung out with a group of people who then all turned out to be tested positive. But this person stayed immune to it and got to dodge that entire week of intense sickness. I know that there's a lot of uncertainty out there, and after hearing everyone fight about this, it might feel weird if you're the only one in the grocery store wearing a mask. I know for me, getting stared at for just having it on starts to make me feel like I might be the crazy one. But I keep doing it for my own safety, and also because I know that if someone sees me, it might reaffirm to them that it's a reasonable thing to do to protect yourself. And then those are the people who end up with a little extra protection, and it might make them safe. And if someday in 20 years we learn that for whatever reason we didn't have to wear the masks and they didn't do that much, we could just laugh about it and say like, oh, we looked like dorks then. That's it. There's very little to lose. And for me, I'd rather learn that I didn't need to do that than learn that I did need to do that. So that's all. I just want you to stay safe and don't willingly pretend it's gone. But now, let's get back to the fun stuff. So, without further ado, here is your final contestant. In a reply to the Shake Doctor, this should be considered a crime, from Keithy Top G. Oh, the swift removal of the dog. Oh, dear Lord. The dog is following them. That poor princess is so convinced that they're playing a game or like they're gonna let her outside. Oh, caught it. Nice try. She smoothly grabs that wall to steady herself, despite her arms being just as shaky at the start. And then that quick return would have been safe if the camera wasn't so high up. What a shame. Although, that's all good, but here's my favorite detail. The other woman makes it to the kitchen and then fixes her gaze straight to the cameraman for the rest of the clip, as if to say, I've hit my mark, are we still rolling? All of that despite the woman slipping and leaning further into her. God, the script supervisor on set must be fuming. It's an instant classic, right? You've got the very rushed acting, the dog giveaway, including tail wagging. The production quality just screams indie. You can tell that they didn't have a lot to work with, but they kept through. It's the power of filmmaking. This one is strong, for sure, but I don't think it beats out the blanket shaky lady, which means that the fake beer can kid call-out one is our winner. Congratulations to everyone involved. This was a well-deserved win in terms of embarrassing fake shaking videos. And looking back, you can see that the nominees are mostly from a pretty specific demographic, just like a majority of acting awards shows. I mean, even Pop Crave called them out, which is a pretty clear sign that you haven't gotten away with anything. I just thought that was worth mentioning. Take it with a grain of salt. But nevertheless, that's my time. So thank you for joining me for the first and, God willing, the last of these showcases of the faking shaking videos. I've been your host, Duncan, and that concludes the video. Tip your waiters, wear your mask, drive home safe. Good night. Hello, if you are watching this secret message, it means that you made it to the end of the video. And your prize is me thanking you for doing that. Thank you. This topic was a dense one, and I didn't think it would be going into editing, and that's probably why I took like a week and a half to make it, so very sorry it took a while, but I hope you think it was worth it. You could like the video or subscribe if you haven't, but like, you know, who's to say? If you feel like you haven't gotten enough of me, you can find my social medias in the description. You can find my other channels in the description. Really, that description has it all. Go check it out if you haven't. Plugging my own description. Now, if you'll all excuse me, I'm gonna go find another topic that could be a 10-minute video and then think about it way too much and turn it into a 20-minute video, because that's me. Take care of yourself and those around you. Stay safe. I love you lots, and I will goodbye.